Good morning. This is my new book. It was published a couple of days ago, and it's full of BGP examples that we can test in the BGP mini lab. Today we're going to do example number 3. First we're going to try example number 2, which is IPv4, and then we're going to switch to IPv6 that's shown here. So this little configuration snippet. Docker is already running, so here I have the terminal and I'll start example number 2. Example. Well, should really type like this. This is the BGP configuration from example number 2. We configure BGP with autonomous system number on our side 65082, a BGP router ID, and then we tell the FR routing system that we actually do want the prefixes to be exchanged, even though we haven't configured any filters yet. That's what we're going to do in the next video, example number 4. And then we have two neighbors specified by address. We first tell the FR routing BGP daemon what the remote AS number is, and then description. So two neighbors. Then we specify some IPv4 specific information, which is the prefix we want to originate, inject into BGP, and then advertise to our neighbors. And then we're done. So let's see how that works. Show IP BGP summary. And here we have the two neighbors, BGP version 4, AS numbers, some messages have been exchanged up for about a minute. One prefix received from both and 3 sent to both, which would be these. So our own prefix, which is easy to recognize because it has a high weight and it doesn't have an AS path. And the next hop is all zeros, and then one prefix from one neighbor and then one from the other neighbor. Okay, so let's do the same for IPv6 now. So we start example number 3. Show running configuration. And here we have, you see here the BGP identifier isn't specified, and we have no neighbor activate directly under here, while the router actually puts that under address family IPv4 unicast, because what we're saying here is we don't want to run IPv4 over this IPv6 address. But I usually cut the unnecessary stuff out of the examples to keep them short and sweet. Okay, so we have the same neighbor, the same AS number, the same router ID, same eBGP requires a policy that we turn off, then the neighbor address, remote AS, same as before, description, same as before, turn it off for IPv6, and then the interesting stuff happens on the address family IPv6 unicast, where we specify our own prefix that we originate and announce to the rest of the world, or this one neighbor in this case. And then we activate the neighbor address for IPv4. For address family IPv6 unicast, or just IPv6. So, rather than show IP BGP summary, we have to type show BGP IPv6 unicast summary. And there's the neighbor address, the version, BGP version, remote AS number, number of messages exchanged, how long the session has been up, one prefix received, 2 sent to ISP30, the description for our neighbor. And this is what we find in the IPv6 BGP table. The neighbor, the prefix the neighbor sends us, the next hop address, which is actually an IPv6 link local address. Don't worry, there's also global address but it shows the local address here. IPv6 routing protocols always need to have a linked local address to generate ICMP redirects. Sorry, ICMPv6 redirects. So here on the next line, because the lines get so long, on the next line we have the AS number of the neighbor, and then here we have our own prefix that we inject into BGP. So that's all. The next example is going to be an important one, because that's the first one where we're going to have some BGP filters, which is extremely important before you let loose your BGP configs on the rest of the world. So see you next time.